We the people unite.
Hey everybody, welcome to We the People Unite. It's Wednesday. How's everybody doing this midweek? Maureen, Katie, Anitra, Andrea, Keisha, Mo, and August. And I'm Kim Page. We are here.
Real.
Keeping it real. Absolutely. Everybody okay? Everybody hanging in there?
No more babies.
What was that?
No more babies.
What?
No more
No more
babies.
for me. For me.
Oh,
Oh,
I got real confused.
Nah,
I was just asking, are we winning yet?
Yeah.
oh, we're winning big league. Big league. I can't get. I'm so tired of winning. I'm tired.
As long as we here are still on the air,
We're winning.
Yeah.
Take a win on that.
They blacked us out last Friday. Wasn't that Friday?
Well, they did because we were showing what they felt was copyrighted material.
and that was my fault.
Yeah, you gotta watch that.
Well,
That's
at least
what
it
I-
wasn't
that's
mine
what I
that time. Hi, Molly.
Who'd have thought? PBS. Hi,
Molly.
Molly. If you're in the chat, yes, please say hello. We highlight your comments and we love conversing with you on these important
Let's see
topics.
if I'm on the right one.
So today I wanted to talk about just some feeds I've been, as I'm going through social media, conversations trigger my ideas for what we're going to talk about. And so this one I thought was interesting. So when the American experiment began, it came with an assumption, right? Not just that citizens could vote or would vote, not just they would enjoy all the rights, but that they would be informed. So the architects of this country didn't design a monarchy. They didn't design a system where people could just sit back and let others think for them. They designed a republic, and republics require participation. So Thomas Jefferson believed in an educated citizenry was essential to self-government. Remember, we're supposed to be self-governed. James Madison warned that a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with knowledge. So in other words, democracy requires work. It requires engagement. It requires homework. It requires research, which we talk about a lot on our program. So if we look back every week, we have serious conversations about what's happening in the world. This week is a lot about democracy, right? Autocracy, global alliances. And these were happening on the world stage. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And the same time here at home, we're having debates about the Epstein files, accusations of institutional corruption, or highlighting that because it's definitely happening, and the lingering aftermath of J6, everything. All these things are filling up our feeds. Obviously, Epstein being the most dominant, which is now global. But I wonder, and I ask the question, how many citizens we do here, because we do the work for this show, but how many citizens do you think people out there actually read? Like, how many people actually read the Epstein documents? Any of them?
0.1 of 5 of 1 people. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very small, I bet.
Yeah. Or how many people watch the hearings?
They don't even know who
Right.
Pam Bondi is, because I have conversations on the side, and there's a few people, they're not engaged. There's so many people not engaged, and I'm encouraging them, and many of them always reply, I don't want to know about it. I don't know. And I said, but you have to. I said, because how you going to know when to duck or when to tuck, you know?
Yeah. Keisha, you wanted to say something?
No, I thought you were asking how many of us have read the Epstein files.
Yeah, a lot of us here, like I said, keep abreast of a lot of things because for the show, we need to be informed. We want to inform our viewers. So we are, I think, a bit more diligent than the average citizen. So I would be curious as to the people in our chat, how many of you have watched read the files or watched the hearings, or that would be, curious. But in a democracy, having an informed electorate is critical.
I know for me, like over the weekend, I tried to unplug just as best as I could. And I found it like eerie, but also kind of like educational because I missed out on a bunch of stuff, just not checking my phone, especially I think Saturday. But it's also so easy to just not be involved in what's going on. And I kind of saw things as to how like the rest of these people see it of, oh no, everything just seems fine. But then on the underneath, it's like when you see that picture of the iceberg or whatever, and above the surface it's small, but underneath it's gigantic.
Yeah.
Well, one thing go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Anitra. Absolutely, go.
So maybe you can find it. I know it's out there on the internet, but it's very interesting. Last night when I was coming home, I decided to listen to. I like Bailey Sarian. I don't know if you know who that is, but that's Murder and Makeup Lady. She's got a huge podcast and she does makeup and talks about true crime. But so she's got a big footprint, been out there forever. But she was on there last night with no makeup on, crying, sitting on her couch, talking about what are we gonna do? She's a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do? And she went through everything and she was like, they're trying to divide us. And she's like, I'm probably going to I don't have any suicidality. I'm not, I don't have anybody chasing me. If my brakes should go out after this. And she was like, but what are we going to do? And I mean, she was just weeping and pleading and it was raw. And it was about a half hour or something like that. And I watched it and it's still on there, I'm sure. And she was like, I don't even do videos like this. And she just went on. And I said, man, she's seeing it now, and she's a millennial, and she's starting to talk about it.
Did she explain what made her wake up now?
Just that she's seeing that everybody's hating each other, and then the Epstein files have really. She said that just basically uptunded her. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And then the more she's looking into it, because she does true crime and stuff, she started reading and getting materials, and she was like, "This is absolutely horrific. Who are we?" And she's like, and nobody's coming to save us. What are we going to do? And we're all divided. We hate each other. And she just seemed like she was at her wit's end. And she kept saying, I'm not suicidal. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I own my house and I know people can't do it. I know I'm blessed. And she was going on. And she was going back and forth between like this guilt and this reality that we are out here alone and we got to organize and form something, because she's like, we got to do it. And she was like, we've got to get organized or we're going to get swallowed up. And I just found that to be very interesting.
Well, I know I live in California, and if you never turn on the news and you just go about your business here in California, you would think everything was okay. Everything was fine. You have to make a choice to engage. I know that in some places it's just in your face. ICE is there. Like if I lived in SoCal, I would have seen all the ICE and everything in Los Angeles. I wouldn't have been able to avoid it. But here, living in Northern California, in the place that I'm living in, if I didn't choose to engage, if I didn't choose to inform myself, I would think that life was normal. I would think that everything was okay, because nothing has yet touched my life in that way. But because I choose to engage and I'm informed, that is what makes me want to go around my neighborhood and make sure that all my neighbors are registered to vote. If you need a ride to the polls, if you need my help, on that day, we have to do this, because you can easily disengage. Depending on where you're living, you can easily disengage and not know what's going on.
Absolutely.
You're completely right.
Yeah. So to kick off kind of our conversation tonight already is because, we have the freedom to speak, right? Still.
I don't know.
Hopefully for a while.
Yeah.
But it's also our responsibility to understand. And like you, Mo, to go out and, your world could be just fine because nothing's touching you.
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean a lot of people in the world are not hurting.
Right.
And so I feel that that's part of citizenry, for us to be educated and to know what's happening in the world.
Mhm.
The other thing that preempted this for me, or gave me the idea to do this, was, anybody watch Hillary Clinton at the what was it? It was the Munich concert.
Yes.
Conference.
I
A little Freudian slip there, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw some clips of
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was extremely interesting when you watch the whole thing. And if I can remember, I'll write it down to put the link to that in the description, because I think it's important for everybody to listen. And I'll make a comment after. Let me, let's listen to this little part and then we'll go.
The right of Black people to be treated at least better than they had been for 400 or so years. It was a culmination of freedom for women to be given their rights much more fully than they had been. It was, I think, a dramatic recognition of human dignity for gay people to be able to be treated without fear and even marry, which to me is creating a family. So, I understand conservative impulses. I understand we are fighting an ideological battle that is as old as time. There are those of us who are more comfortable in a more open, tolerant world. And there are those who have their concerns about it because they worry about the impact on existing institutions like the family, community, and others. So this really, yes, migration has been a huge flashpoint. More people were deported under my husband and Barack Obama without killing American citizens and without putting children into detention camps than were in the first Trump term or this first year of Trump's second term. So I think it's important to look at the facts, because very often the ideological impulse to try to protect the status quo or return making America great again in some nostalgic past that existed for white men and capitalist enterprise was not exactly open and welcoming to people who look like me and a lot of other people who are part of our national fabric. I have no argument with the necessity of trying to figure out, how do we form families? I'm very proud of my family. I'm proud of my 3 grandchildren. I am proud to be part of that tradition. That doesn't mean everybody has to be. That doesn't mean everyone who doesn't have children is somehow an illegitimate human being. So how do we make the case in a positive way, not a bullying and very shameful way? So this debate that's going on is driven by an effort to control people, to control who we are, how we look, who we love. And I think we need to call it for what it is. There is a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people, and how we're going to have a strong family structure, because it is at the base of civilization.
Secretary Clinton, so thank you for that.
Let's, there's another clip I want to show. We'll stop there, but I want to go back and show these gentlemen here. So it was interesting to me to see the conservatives, ultra conservatives, the man on the far, far right. I forget,
That's ironic.
I'll get the name. Yeah. And then the person right next to Hillary's right was really scary to listen to him. Extremely supportive of Trump. So this was an interesting conversation, and the reason I bring it up is because these are academics for the most part, but from different countries. And what they say is so important because it really highlights the fact that there's this right-wing ideology that's rising everywhere in the world. And it is really scary, really scary. So let's talk about that clip, and then I'll move on to another one of hers.
Well, what I was thinking is that Trump wants to go back in a time where you can just grab him by the PU, and then he's the biggest PU walking around this country because they are really scared of Black people. They're scared of Blacks. They're scared of the women. They're just scared of freedom. So we got the biggest PUs as a billionaires, and they just, all of them are just afraid.
Something that along with like his base, we need to find a way to get them to realize that equality doesn't mean less rights for them. It just means the same rights for everybody. And I think that especially Trump supporters get nervous when they see like all these equal rights, especially for women or LGBTQ, because they think something's going to be taken away from them. And that's not the case. It's just everybody equal.
No, they don't want equal. They want the freedom to grab people. They want the freedom to drag Blacks behind trucks. They want the freedom to have their women at home barefoot and pregnant.
They definitely want that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of getting them to understand what equality means.
They already know.
They already know, exactly. They already know what equality means. They don't want it. That's what it is. They don't want to give up their power. This is about power. They don't want to give up their power. We are a multicultural society, and it's beautiful. You know, it's part of what we were talking about on last night's show about my people came over from Haiti. I have a diaspora of so many different ethnicities in my family, but mainly they came over from Haiti. They settled in New Orleans, and the rich culture of that place. I can't imagine a world without that. And I can't imagine anyone not wanting that. I mean, I find other cultures fascinating. I want to learn about them. I want to immerse myself in them because I think that it's fascinating. I think that it's lovely. And I don't understand the mentality of people that want this, I don't know, this bland societal. I don't even understand why they would want that. I don't even know why they would want that. It's so plain and it's boring.
Have you seen the look on Trump's face when a Black woman speaks up to him? He hates. That's why 350,000 Black women don't have a job, because they spoke up to him.
Well, I'm going to share about what Momo's just talked about, and in my own experience, I look at my family now. I have 2 biracial great nephews. I have a Mexican niece. I have found out I've got so many things we all do. You know, you look at your ancestry. That's so lovely. I get so excited every time I hear that there is another culture that I have from my family. And I have found recently I have 2% African in my family. I also have indigenous indigenous. I could go on and on, you know. Wonderful. That's what I want. That's what we're all about. We're people. We're supposed to care about each other. Maybe I'm not being a realist right now. I know it's terrible. It's extremely terrible right now. I've been around for a while, and I have never even come close to experience this. Now, granted, I don't know everything I should know, about enslaved people. But I'm learning more and more. I'm reading more. I'm talking to people. I'm being with all of you. Don Lemon's show. And it shouldn't be that way. None of that should have happened. I know going to Monticello, and we were never taught that he had slaves, Jefferson. We were never taught that whole history. I know it now, and I've known it for a while because I read, and I went to visit Monticello when they started bringing that out. The point I'm making here is, my God, why do we not care about people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all want the same things in our heart.
Well, you have to not villainize the people that you are. And when we villainize each other, I think it makes us a little less human. And I mean, that's part of it. But what you're saying and what you're doing, don't let nobody stop you, Miss Maureen, because you're doing what it do.
Nobody
And
can stop me now, for sure.
And I was looking at, you were talking about being Haitian. I learned something this week that I did not know, that the Haitian Revolution, the slaves that fought back, they broke down Napoleon's army until he was broke. And because of that, he had to sell his territories. And that's how we got Louisiana and parts of America. So when they say America wouldn't be here without black people, there you go. Pieces of it will be missing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Wasn't
how
there
cool.
the recent story where the original White House, Philadelphia, Washington had slaves?
Yeah.
And Trump wants to remove everything that
He already removed the stuff in Philly.
Yeah, but
they want to put it back.
The courts told him to put it back.
Put it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So
if people really believe, and people call themselves Christians, and they really believe that we're all descendants of Adam and Eve, then we are all brothers and sisters. And it doesn't matter what the color of your hair is, or the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, or nothing. It doesn't matter. We're all brothers and sisters. And until we all come together, I keep saying there are more of us than there are them, and us get out and say, you know what, Trump, we're not taking this no more. We're taking our country back. We want equal rights for everyone. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're light skinned or dark skinned. I don't care. I just want some food.
That would come down to food and water and a little dancing.
Before we go on, I thought this was a good cartoon.
Oh, I love that. I saw that.
Authoritarian
Yeah.
president, the people who support him. Yeah. And we've talked about that before. Kids are not born racist.
No,
they're not born racist.
No, you're not born racist. Mm-mm.
No,
you're not.
So, that's why when I see kids that say things or they look at me funny because I can tell they might have exposure, I try to present myself. I wave at them, show them that I'm nice, talk to them, or if they ask me something weird, I don't get mad. I just tell them, I tell them straight up facts. I got melanin. And they'll be like, you got what? I'm like, I know it. Not the stuff to put you to sleep. They said, my mommy give me that. No, not that. That's melatonin.
Well, did you guys see the high school student that punched a kid in the face because he kept saying "I love ICE"? I think it was in Chicago. This kid had those meta glasses that have the camera in them, and he was holding a sign that said "I loved ICE," and then the kid was like, "Are you really being serious?" He goes, "Yeah." And the next thing you just see is his fist go flying.
Oh no, we can get in trouble.
Yeah,
that's the only thing about when you hit people.
Violence is never the answer.
The story I told you about Governor Abbott, when the children here in Texas walked out of school to protest ICE, and then when they were walking down the street, this man jumped out of his car and went and jumped on two of the girls. And then when they called the governor and told him they needed help, he said that you shouldn't have been protesting. You should have been in school. And so all of the people that protested and walked out of school got reprimanded.
Oh, well, that's right. Talking about schools, the high schools around here and up in Auburn and the Sierras, the kids walked out of high school the other day and protested. I was so proud of all of them. Yeah.
We showed the footage from out in Indianapolis when not Indianapolis, Noblesville area in Indiana, where they did it a couple weeks ago. And I think that the younger kids, that's crazy that the younger kids are more woke than some of us older people.
Is. Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say woke because woke's got a bad reputation, but you paying attention.
Or
That's what people need to hear.
In tune.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's oops, where'd I go?
Dolly, what did they do today? If you could be more specific.
Probably a protest.
It was a walkout, I think, somewhere at a high school today.
All right, so let's watch more.
Oh, they were protesting ICE.
The resident
Okay.
that Ukrainians and others are
So
putting
let's
forward.
let's see what happens rather than trying to like box President Trump and the administration into a corner and smearing them as Putin apologists who are about to sell out a country.
Well, he did
that's
put
not
up a Putin picture in the White House.
But I thought you were grateful for the new demands that the American administration has put on Europe. I mean, I think that's something that we're all agreeing has been something.
I don't have a Putin picture in my house.
For now.
That's good.
For now. I think, yeah.
No, I think
I'm still trying to find people who want to rise to this one word Gaza.
No,
which is an unusual experience
I think
for me.
Ukraine is at the heart of what the West division is. And I think that's why both Roddick and Gladden went back to it, because first of all, the Ukraine war started after Trump left. So anything he said on social media that got him kicked off for a while had nothing to do with Ukraine. There is a plan. The plan is give the Ukrainians Tomahawks, give them more missiles for their Patriot defense systems, allow them to inflict more damage beyond the border into Russia. That's when they began to actually think about coming to the negotiating table, when Ukraine was able to reach targets that were inside Russia. Inflict enough pain. I mean, apparently it's not enough pain to have hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers killed and injured. That is not enough pain for Putin. Inflict pain refineries, inflict pain on the missile sites, inflict pain that will actually create the conditions for a better negotiation. And it is very.
I want to come to Peter and Ivan quickly, and then we're going to leave. The MSC has produced a clock. I thought at the beginning the rules based.
Let's stop here. Talk about what she just said there, and what he said. So it's really interesting to watch this whole thing and look at the dynamic.
Oh, I'm going to watch it when we get off here.
Very right. Yeah. Trump supporters, basically. And then the gentleman on the far left, the academic, there was a lot of things he was saying that was just a lot of common sense. And you could see Hillary just, nodding her head on that. So anything on that before I set up one last clip here?
The thing is, I think she makes a point. It's kind of a piss or get off the pot situation. You either inflict it and do some blitzkrieg type. If they want to go German, let's go blitzkrieg type warfare and do what we got to do and then bring them to the table. But they don't want to do that because they bullshit. They don't want to put Putin in a corner where he has to come to the negotiating table because he compromised. That's what I think. So he's just playing around enough to make it look like they're doing enough, but not doing nothing at the same time. And that's all I will say.
They're not even pretending like they're doing anything.
They sure aren't.
They're not even pretending like they're doing anything. Here's the thing. If we were truly supporting Ukraine, I honestly believe that by now this war would be over.
That's right.
Done.
If we provided them with what they have already proven on their own with what they have already, that they can make very
strategic inroads
strikes. Yes. And so if we were to provide them with the support that they needed, this war could be over.
That's right.
We would
She said it's going to be over in 24 hours, remember?
This just shows that that's not what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Of course not. Of course not.
Putin is his girlfriend.
And Marley, I agree with you. Could you imagine where we would be if Hillary had won?
Oh my gosh.
Light years into
Yeah. Okay, so this is one last clip.
With you, and then everyone else gets about a minute, and you get a minute and a tiny bit.
Yeah, I heard three in particular. To the last question, it's horrifying, and we're hoping that there will be continued release every day that passes. That doesn't mean, as our news commentators say every day in the United States, it's because someone's name is there, they committed a crime. But I think there's a lot of very troubling and really horrific information coming out. Today, it came out that Steve Bannon was trying to get Jeffrey Epstein to help him overthrow Pope Francis. I guess that was part of the civilizational
true
conservatism. So it is something that needs to be totally transparent. I've called for many years for everything to be put out there so people can not only see what is in them, but also, if appropriate, hold people accountable. We'll see what happens. On the New START treaty, which we were, the foreign minister and I were talking about this just backstage. We actually signed, President Obama signed the New START treaty in Prague. And it was, one in a series of efforts to restrain the proliferation of nuclear weapons, to control the U.S. and Russian arsenals. And I think it's a very big mistake for it to have been allowed to expire. I know that there was an offer, apparently, from the Russians to extend it a year, during which there could be some negotiations. The Trump administration refused that. And their response was that they wanted to try to get China and other nuclear weapons countries into a regime, which more power to them if they could ever manage that and if it could be achieved. But I am very worried because Trump also, he tweets, or I guess he X's or whatever he does on social media late at night. And one of his recent ones was to resume nuclear testing, underground nuclear testing. And I think that would be a terrible development. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And I'm hoping that there can be some efforts to reinstate some kind of nuclear arms agreements. With respect to this question, if you think about the 13 colonies, that was a creed. It was an idea. It was a philosophy. It did not include the entire continental United States, let alone Alaska and Hawaii. It was based on the founders' deep understanding of human nature, of philosophy, of what we might call liberal thought, as they created a new country. And, when I hear President or Vice President Vance say things like that about how, it's a nation, it's blood and soil, and all the ways that he talks about it, I think to myself, I never knew he was such a firm advocate for Native Americans, because the idea that you would have an approach toward the United States that ripped away our founding documents, our founding philosophies, is so contrary to the way I understand American history. So I think that it's not only wrong historically, it is a political device that I think is very dangerous and should be rejected whole cloth.
Thank you.
Well said. Well
I'm a citizen of those.
Yeah.
Well
There's one
said.
more where she
I didn't realize until a few minutes ago how much I long for a smart leader.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Between her and then recently I watched the Brian Tyler Cohen interview with Obama. Oh my gosh. I
have those clips.
Yeah, I just long for just some brain cells at this point.
Yeah. It's and it also helps because people are listening to this garbage that's coming out of this administration. And I think it's really important for us to go back and listen to these leaders, right? And here's some common sense, and here's some intellectual discussions to hear people that are articulate.
Well, look even at how so many people responded to Reverend Jesse Jackson passing away, and then on Dawn's show tonight, we hear him go off about, we hear Trump go off about his version of his relationship with him, and I'm just like, oh, just shut up, just I don't
Because
want to
it's
hear.
not
I don't wanna
about
hear it.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's and I bring these, like I bring up the Hillary, that whole panel and discussion, because as citizens, I think it is important that we listen to these conversations, so that we are so we have an understanding about not what's just happening in our country, but what's happening in other countries. Because again, I say it is scary to learn that we have all of these. I mean, these guys are like praising Putin, and you know, and the guy's standing up to him right there. Hey, I don't have a picture of Putin in my house.
Okay.
So it's really interesting to hear these conversations. So I would encourage everybody to listen to that, and it's always so wonderful to hear and
I want to
articulate.
encourage people to get uncomfortable again and
Yeah.
get out in the street. And you know, y'all went on a couple of protests, and that man's still in office.
Yeah.
Get up, get out, and
takes
get
time.
some.
Yeah, it takes time. But let's listen to a little bit of this.
Yeah, because if that's how we fight, then we lose what we're fighting for. But that doesn't.
Let me go back a little bit. What he's talking about is getting into the dirt, like the right, and not falling into that trap.
I do think that I don't want us to simply duplicate the behavior of the other side. I don't want us to have a slash and burn strategy where we don't care about rule of law. We don't care about some of the guardrails around our democracy. We start lying and having no regard for the truth the way the other side seems to be comfortable with right now. Because if that's how we fight, then we lose what we're fighting for. But that doesn't mean we have to get punked or be saps. And I do, or to cling to traditions just for the sake of tradition. I think what we have to continually evaluate is, in this moment in time, how do we make sure that we can advance our agenda in a way that reflects what's good for ordinary folks, not special interests, not simply the well-to-do, and how do we do that in a way that's consistent with integrity, honesty, democracy, the values that we claim to want to uphold? And I think it's possible to do that. But the reason I started with reminding ourselves, yes, we have a harder job, because sometimes I think we're tough on Democrats, saying, why aren't you being as mean and tough and nasty as they are? Well, you know, it's you know, when I was president of the United States, I suppose I could have simply unilaterally ordered the military to, you know, go into some red state and harass and intimidate a governor there, or cut off funding for states that didn't vote for me. I could have exercised that prerogative, but that is contrary to how I think our democracy is supposed to work. And I think we shouldn't get discouraged by the fact that we have a tougher job. What we should do is expect that our side is smart enough to figure it out.
So you had mentioned persuasion.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that position he takes on that.
How did we get here, right, guys?
Oh, I miss him so much.
Yeah, same here.
And this is what
We had good leaders, or we could have had good leaders, and look what we got right now.
I could listen
and what
to
I'm
him.
going to say is that I know that many of these people that we are talking about, because I'm just going to keep it a buck, everybody don't agree with everything they did. I don't agree with everything everybody did. But at the heart of it, they never had malintent for this country. They never had malintent for us, I don't think. And I think they did the best they could do with what they had. And they could have did better. But it's not what we're going through now. So let's not do the whataboutism. Let's look at it for what it is and where our life would be and our country would be as a whole.
All we want and we keep saying is equality. That is all we're after, and they keep trying to make it sound like it's a big deal. Trump and his white racist buddies do not want us to have equality. And that's just, I'm going to throw my computer away.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And it's not just the thing with a lot of Trump supporters regarding like equality. It's not that he wants just white folks. He wants rich white people rich pretending to be straight white people to take over this country. So everybody else is just screwed.
I just want to call out at IB Things Stuff More 9513 and the Obamas are not in the Trump-Stein files.
No, they ain't in the Trump-Stein.
They're not in the Epstein files. And no one's talking about that. That's positive. And that's what we should be talking about. Can I get 2 snaps on that? Thanks for calling it out.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Absolutely.
Would you like to join us and stay mellow doing whatever the hell it is they do in Monticello?
I don't know why Congress won't just ask him why is he so racist.
Because Congress is run by the Republicans right now, Andrea.
No, I know.
And he's not going to tell the truth anyway. The man can't tell the truth. I don't even know. I don't know what could get. I think he had to be waterboarded or something to tell the truth. Allegedly.
I'm gonna go back to Marley. Yes, On Tyranny is an excellent book. I would suggest everybody read it. How Democracies Die is another excellent book that I wish people had read a long time ago, because they are all very, very insightful. And we also have to remember when Obama came into office, he was in a very difficult situation because O'Connell was hell-bent on going against everything that he tried to do.
Yes.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he still achieved. Right. Go ahead, August.
I must say, the only crime the Obamas did, and Mr. Obama, President Obama did, was wear that tan suit. And it wasn't even a crime. It wasn't a crime.
Good in it.
Okay? That was not even a crime, but they had to find something. And that's what we should be striving for. And it's like everyone forgot. It's like it's okay to be bad. No, it's not.
And I wish the Supreme Court, would listen.
But Obama gets a lot of scrutiny because people expected him to come in and clean up of everything 400 years worth of and since 1776 and get everybody and get us reparations and all that. And I know a lot of people that are very critical of him because they wanted him to do what no man before him could do. And they wanted more from him than but he did the best he could. And I feel a lot of times I have to defend him with people, even people that look like me.
He brought us back from a terrible economy.
Everybody
didn't lose their homes.
Democrats always do that. Democrats always have to bring us back from a terrible economy.
But they always have
historical
amnesia. No one remembers that part of it. They always like, oh, well, he didn't do this with the birth of kids. They didn't do that. I mean, he had a full agenda and he had feckless Republicans trying to knock him down.
Had 11 months to still put in a Supreme Court justice and what's his name that blacks out when he stand in public now, wouldn't let him pick nobody.
Turtle, McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
Turtle.
All right, Jazzy, we got a new reporter. That IB Things Stuff More. I got a new reporter on the ground. Thank you for definitely commenting. Please make sure you like and subscribe. And also, we love your comments. So we will highlight and call you out. Don't forget, we do want you to join this pod. So please get your membership on for a little ass.
Thank you, August. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of one of our favorite presidents, and we'll go from there.
And anyway, the good news is, I think that the folks that we are fighting politically, the current White House, this administration, and their enablers, they're behaving so badly. They're doing such crazy stuff that it shouldn't be hard for our side to coalesce around the areas where we agree on and focus on that. And I think that, you know, that is going to happen if we are effective in winning the midterms, if we then have a robust primary for who's going to be the next Democratic president. We shouldn't be afraid of having a robust debate. I want all comers to sort this out. I benefited from having about as grueling a primary as I could have. It made me a better candidate. It ultimately made me a better president because I had been tested. My ideas had been tested. The story I was telling about America had been tested. And that's what we should be looking for, rather than expecting that somehow we're going to all come up with some consensus blueprint master plan that everybody's going to execute. You know, Democrats aren't good at doing that anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, one block of voters who I think there has been particular focus paid to right now is young voters. And, you know, you were able to mobilize a generation of young voters in a way that hadn't been done before. I got involved in politics because of you. And in fact, a lot of millennials, folks my age, got involved in politics because of you. Like when I was a student, you could not find any other students on campus who were not supporting your campaign. Democrats and you had owned the cultural zeitgeist in a way that hadn't been done before, and frankly hasn't been done since. And we've seen a shift happen, obviously, from 2008, 2012 up to 2024. Right. And for the first time, we saw Democrats really lose their grip on culture in a way that hadn't happened before. And so what is your advice in terms of remobilizing a generation of Americans that we've had trouble mobilizing up to this point?
Well, look, part of it has to do with the fact that I was young.
Yeah.
So
maybe don't nominate octogenarians.
Look, I'm 64 now. I'm pretty healthy, 64. Feel great.
Yeah.
But the truth is, half of the references that my daughters make about social media, TikTok, etc.
TikTok.
I don't know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
There is a element of, at some point, you age out. You're not connected directly to the immediate struggles that folks are going through. And so I'm not making a hard and fast rule here, but I do think that Democrats do well when we have candidates who are plugged into the moment, to the zeitgeist, to the times, and the particular struggles that folks are thinking about as they look towards the future rather than look backward toward the past. And so some of it is choosing candidates who check that box. I do think that there is an element of joy that Democrats lost sometimes. Our campaign was fun. We had some, look, it wasn't always fun for me, but we built a community. We gave people a sense that if you are part of this, you're doing something meaningful. And it wasn't just talk. Young people ran our campaigns. We empowered them. We put them in charge. They were out there figuring stuff out. I'm not the person who was figuring out our media strategy. I was not the person who was out there, knocking on doors and talking to voters and creating events. It was 20 and 30-year-olds. And so what happened in our campaign, and what you recently saw in Mondami's campaign in New York, when there's that sense of joy and engagement and involvement, then people feel like, all right, this is not just some transactional grind. This is me becoming part of a community and joining with others. And I think young people respond to that. And then a corollary to that is I do think that culturally, and I've talked about this before, we did turn off. I think there was a certain way of talking about issues for Democrats where we sounded like scolds. And I've said this before. There was a virtue signaling that made it seem as if ordinary folks, if they did not say things in exactly the right way or meet this litmus test, that they were being chastised, pushed away. And the truth is, most of us, all of us, are complicated, and we have blind spots, and sometimes we say dumb stuff, and if you want to create an environment that is welcoming and makes people feel, okay, there's room for me here, then the message and the story we tell has to be, all right, none of us are perfect. All of us count. We all have good in us that we can tap into. We can all learn from each other. And I think that is something we need to recover. That's part of the fun of politics. That's part.
Yeah, we're starting to run out of time. I encourage everybody to listen to that whole thing. It's excellent. Any comments on what Obama had to say?
Yeah, I think he's right. I remember during his campaign, I was never one to pay too close attention, really, to politics a lot. And during his campaign, I felt addressed. I felt spoken to. And I have to say that I do believe, as he said, that a lot of our Democratic leaders have aged out. They no longer can relate to the people that they are trying to serve. And instead of being so reluctant to embrace some of the younger, more outspoken leaders in the Democratic Party, it's not saying that you're irrelevant or you don't count anymore, but you have to be open to listen to younger people to understand what's going on in the world today. I know
they eat their young.
Yeah, just from personal experience. I mean, I'm going to be 60 years old this year. I talk to my kids, I talk to my daughter-in-law and my daughter and my son, like, what? I just saw this, like, what is this about? And they explain it to me. But if I'm sitting here on my high horse, like, I'm the elder and I know what's best and I know what's what, and not listen to them, not be engaged with them, then you don't learn, you can't progress. And I think that's what we're missing in the Democratic Party right now. We really need for our elders to just stay open-minded and listen.
And that's a way, like he says, to engage them, right? We're talking about being informed citizens. How do we encourage the younger generations to be informed citizens if we're talking to them condescendingly or if we're not relating to them in any way?
Yes.
Hard to teach old dog new tricks, though. You know
Or
how.
do you know where your kids are?
I remember those ads.
I used to be like, no.
When
'Cause
Obama,
Huh?
when Obama ran the first time, I was very inspired by his campaign, and I was in my, I think, early 30s, and I went door to door. I lived in Los Angeles, and my friend and I went to Las Vegas to go door to door knocking to get people to register to vote and to pass along the message about voting for Obama. And my friend was Chinese American, and everyone in that group that was campaigning that weekend was so diverse. And like you could feel the excitement in the room. And I was reminded of that when Zohran Mamdani ran for mayor in New York City. And I had 3 20-somethings come knock on my door in New York City, where we don't do that.
Right.
Like, who
What the hell was that? Jehovah Witness.
they were so energized, so excited about the message that he had. And we need more of that. Like, that is possible. You have to speak to people in a language that matters to them, that they can relate to. And that's exactly what Obama's saying.
When my granddaughter turned 18, I made sure I took her to vote first. I said, we're going to vote. So I think if people would still remind their children and grandchildren, that we need to vote, it is important, to come out and speak their voice and talk about things that they would like to see. I knew when I was 15 that when I got to be a certain age that I didn't want to look 100. I still wanted to put on my socks and my jeans and my tank top and look cute, and I do.
Yeah. Linda, I want to acknowledge what Linda's saying here. She's right, because my younger son feels the same way. That that generation has been let down, right? They did all the right things, and still it's hard to find jobs. And now, yes, AI is on the heels of now potentially replacing them. My son, we were just talking about it the other day. How can they afford to buy a house in California? Our homes are, start at $100, $1 million.
Well, so I got that. Like, look,
I was listening to this gentleman the other day. I forgot his name, and he was talking about AI, and he was comparing it to, say, when people used to use a lawnmower, and now they use electric lawnmowers or riding lawnmowers, or before you used to go out there and do your cows like this, and now you got machines to do your cows like that. He said we shouldn't be so scared of AI. We should embrace it and then plan on what to do with it, because it is going to create another type of job. What we don't know is what kind of job. And I think if we invested more time in understanding what other jobs are in it for the future, we could. He said they're going to have things such as, you're going to have retail stores that are online, but they're going to be real. They're going to be live, and you can buy stuff right away. I said,
and that's great. Those things are great. The problem is that it's a different kind of creation than a lawnmower or the lamp lighters, and then we had electricity. You have to be that kind of person to be in that. Everybody's not tech savvy.
But that's what I'm saying. Every world, all the generations I've seen and all the generations some of my family's seen, we had to come through this stuff.
But this is not that. This is different.
Just like Monique is saying, Andrea, I'll show you how to operate stuff when you get to New York. We have to be willing to open our minds to new things. We can't just sit here and be stuck. Otherwise, we'll be stuck like Donald Trump. He's stuck. He's stuck in the 50s. We can't get stuck.
No. Who wants to
I
do
just want
that?
to say one thing, that there's 2 things of human nature. One, change is constant, and we are resistant to change. Most of us, not all of us. And also learning new tool sets. And when we don't know the unknown, we don't want to step into it unless someone else has gone before. So that's what's holding a lot of people back. I mean, Kim is a part of AI. I've taken my AI classes. You really need to just get out there, start reading. It's all about
I've done more
learning.
than that, and I still think it needs to be regulated. That's my issue. It's not AI, it's the regulation and the speed of which we go into this. That's my issue.
Well, again, I understand your concerns, and there are probably concerns about everything we've done. It's just that I don't want us to stop. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Because Star Trek, look at us. Whoopi says she still
Yeah.
participate because she said that's what our future really looks like. It's going to be somebody with some funny ears, somebody that don't have no emotions, and they just, but they smart. But they so smart, and we need those intellectual people. We like Keisha.
Are you talking about Vulcans?
She is, and she's out of her Vulcan mind.
Data. She's talking about data.
That's right.
Data's my guy.
To Anitra's point about regulation, I agree with Andrea. I use AI for work. I use it for personal stuff. But we also do need to regulate it because it is destroying our environment. And we have to figure out a better way to make it work that doesn't rely on using up water and poisoning people's neighborhoods.
That's right. But we just
and hopefully
stop. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be AI that helps us figure that out.
That's right.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I had a conversation with Grok the other day, and me and Grok was going back and forth, and I was talking about her maker at one point, and she said this and that. I call her she.
See, that's your problem. That's your problem right there. Grok is your best friend right now.
No, it's not my best friend. I was having a conversation about
time with Grok.
Okay. All right, everybody.
I'm offended.
Again, that we could do a whole episode just on AI, which might be
we should.
I'm offended.
I'm sorry. I'm
offended.
Okay, we're going over, and I want to make sure we get to August on the move. And
August, you got to stop picking on my baby.
Friday.
All right, we love her when she's not here. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Today we will definitely, for this evening, we're going to talk about carry on. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because a lot of students are now on either their winter break, and they are traveling. And you really need to know this, because you get to the airport, if you do not have your following, I'm trying to see if I can bring it up. There it is. If you do not have your real ID, you cannot travel unless you have your passport or enhanced ID as well. So those two things. A lot of people are getting to the airport and they're very much surprised. So also, they have new rules for 2026 on luggage. So before, we used to be able to take on a carry-on your personal items. So you might have your laptop bag, you might have your purse, ladies, guys, you might have your book bag, your backpack, and also you might have a carry-on. You need to be very much in tune to what is going on. So I'm just going to start off and let you know. So most major U.S. airlines claim the same carry-on limit. That's 22 inches tall, 14 inches wide, and 9 inches on width, including wheels and handles. This covers American Airlines, Delta, United, JetBlue, and Alaska and Southwest. Allows slightly larger bags, 24 inches tall by 16 inches wide and 10 inches in width. Listen up. The budget carriers like Frontier and Spirit typically restrict carry-on to around 18 inches tall by 14 inches wide and 8 inches thick for items that fly free under personal item policies. I'm going to skip that in regards to this, but I want you to know this also includes wheels and handles. So most of these handles are collapsible handles. Some have the big wide tires on it. Airlines measure total interior dimensions. So please keep that in mind. That's full height from the bottom of the wheels to the top of the handle. So a lot of people are being put out there. And also I want to talk about weight limits. The limits varies more than size limits. Domestic flights rarely enforces them. though policies exist. International flights cap carry-on weight at 15 to 22 pounds. And then after that, you pay a $50 to $100 for overage. So please keep that in mind, depending on the route and carrier, with Asian and European carriers enforcing these limits and strict. Personal item is critical. And I want to bring up personal items because even though every airline allows one personal item in addition to your carry on, and this distinction has become more important as carry on enforcement tightens. So they really want to make money or they want to not have you on your flight just to make your life much more difficult. Personal items must fit under the seat in front of you. As you know, chairs and seat backs must be up and your tray table locked away. So keep that in mind. But which means dimensions around 17 inches tall by 10 inches wide and 9 inches thick for most carry-on. Backpacks, laptops, bags, purses, and briefcase qualify. Small duffel bags work if they're truly small. The key is stay under the seat rather than taking overhead bin spaces. All right. We could talk about budget. Just take a look at this. This is under your smarter traveler. Gate checking costs real money. So gate checking fees run 35 to 65 depending on the carrier. So you get down to the gate and they say, well, I'm sorry, your bag cannot fit on the overhead compartment. They will charge you for it to go under in the belly of the plane. So just keep this in mind. You want to make sure that you're not getting these prices. Budget carriers hit 75 to 100. You notice how the budget always is higher and the more domestic airlines are much lower. They're charging us. They're just knocking us over the head for these fees. I remember back when we never had this stuff. You could bring your damn near refrigerator in there and it was okay. If it couldn't fit in the overhead, they give you a ticket and they'll put it in the belly of the plane. Talk back to me, guys. How do you feel about the new rules that are coming out?
Greed, greed, and more greed.
Well said. Absolutely. Please keep in mind expansion zipper problems. So most carry-ons or most bags may have expansion zippers that adds 1 to 2 inches of depth under the zipper. So these work great for packing more clothes, but you will have to definitely check them because you can get caught out there with it at the gate. So just keep that in mind. I'm really just trying to go through the items that don't count. Airlines don't count certain items against your baggage allowance, jackets, coats, umbrellas, duty-free purchases. So if you're buying in the after the security area you're buying, that's duty-free for most people. If you're not aware, that assistive device like wheelchairs or canes and food for infant travel with you. So they're not going to be strict on those items. International is a totally different thing. When you get a chance, please take a look at this. I really want you guys to be aware of this because travel, they're cracking down. Don't want you to get through security and they say, guess what? You can't fly. You get to the gate and you're not going to get on your flight. Another thing I want to bring to the table today, it is Black History Month. And I want to bring a segment just to let you guys be aware of it that is going on. So I want to highlight once it come up. Let me see if it's going to give me up. Come on, people. Hello. Hello. Okay. It should be right there. Come on. Add it to the stage. I add it. Come on. Why does it do this to me?
6 heroes to honor this Black History Month.
Yes, absolutely. So please take a look at the 6 heroes.
Thank you. Oh, wow. She
They
got
lost
bumped
my-
off. Oh, my goodness.
But I
Okay.
bet you,
Oh, that was
but
interesting.
yeah, I was like, where'd she go? Yeah, yeah, very cool. Oh,
Oh,
Shirley
well.
Chisholm, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shirley was that's a pretty good movie on Netflix. I think it is too.
Mhm.
Since Maureen is 2% African, I wanted to wish her happy Black History Month.
I was gonna say, what's up, girl? Coming to the tube. You making the potato salad.
No raisins and no
so proud to share that, but I'm very proud of it. I truly am.
So, oh gosh. So to end our theme on informed citizenship, I found this and I thought it was interesting. Someone said, "This is how I keep my sanity." I'm not going back and forth with people anymore about this administration. I'm not trying to convince anyone of shit. It's curtains. You have 1,000x the evidence you need on morality and fiscal performance. If you aren't connected to reality anymore, society is moving on without you. The fantasy land where Trump is defendable is a place where facts aren't allowed. This shit is embarrassing as fuck to watch people defend publicly and is the most genuinely cringy thing society has ever witnessed. It is their responsibility to be informed citizens. It is not our responsibility to force that. Right?
Amen. Amen.
Now, I want to just say you got to allow 6 to 8 weeks to get your real ID. You want to really do it before then because it is crucial at the airport.
Actually, if you get a passport, that'll take care of everything.
Some people don't want to pay the fee.
Yeah, so passports are not cheap.
No, they're not.
They're $130 now.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
I
had
thought it'd be way more than that.
passport is still okay.
Get
so
on the
that's
state
one
end.
thing.
Yeah.
But
they're good for like 10 years. So if you break it down, that's $13 a year.
I know they don't think like that. I know.
Yeah. So I want to go back to August real quick. Was there another part of that
I'm glad you put it that way though, because now I feel
No,
better
I
about
just
the
wanted
whole
to say,
situation.
now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. Please make sure you adhere to what's going on and flying. Be careful out there because the skies used to be friendly. They're not friendly anymore.
That's for sure. All right, everybody. We're over time today. Great conversations. Thank you, everyone.
And
in the
Spirit
chat.
Airlines, I'm gonna give them a shout out. They help do sensory stuff for autistic children, one of the very few.
Marley.
Can I thank the individuals who joined? I think I have everyone. Thank you, Jazzy, Linda, May, Marley, Momo's husband, I forget his name.
Mike.
Mike, LB Things, Dallioops, Michael, and Molly. I think I got everyone. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you.
Or somebody, IB.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Again,
you.
please, if you are inclined, please become a member and help support our work. But always, if you can, please like and subscribe. That helps
Yes,
the
I don't know.
algorithm. As Andre always says, it helps the algorithm.
Mhm.
I didn't see
So
that.
we, yeah, we appreciate your support, and we'll see you on Friday for the roundtable.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, bye, bye.
We the people unite.